Welcome to CineFix. Now, T and I saw Mad Max Fury Road last night.
Spoiler, look at my face. My face is a spoiler.
It was awesome. Like, I'm still thinking about it, like, more than 12 hours later. I'm like, oh, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, the movie was so good that I actually had a headache going in. I was just like, this is not going to be a good movie for a headache, and I still liked it.
This is probably the most harrowing, dangerous movie I felt like I've sat through in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there were points where I think we were all actually legitimately concerned for the stunt personnel.
Like, I was sort of moving in my seat at one point.
Yeah, the movie, I mean, this is not for the faint of heart. It really is sort of in the classic movie hyping up language, a high-octane nonstop thrill ride. I mean, it is relentless. It's actually almost fatiguing as an audience, which I think is effective because it makes you feel fatigued with these characters. You know, they are on the run, and you feel as exhausted as they do.
Transformers is sort of the same way, and sort of like you get to the end and you're exhausted, but like, Transformers just becomes this sort of like sea of action that just sort of washes over you that you can't really follow. And I feel like Mad Max, like George Miller's direction on this is just fantastic. The action is so clean and easy to follow throughout, which is ultimately what holds the whole movie together, I think.
Right. There were a few moments where there were just some quick cuts where I did have a little bit of a problem understanding what might have happened here or there, but overall I thought the communication was extremely successful and effective in terms of showing us, not telling us, but showing us, because this is an extremely visual movie. You know, it's a little bit lighter on the dialogue than you might typically see in most other movies today, and I think it really, really works. It was just a really, really interesting to look at movie, really, 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 really well directed, and just so well thought out.
Well, I think it's one of those where like the art direction really pays off in telling sort of the story of the world. Like, there's a little bit where they sort of, there's like a little bit of an opening monologue.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, Max, here I am. But it's like, all of the real storytelling is in like how all the cars are constructed, and even like with very quick shots, like stuff that other directors would use to sort of make like a meal out of. George Miller's like, nah, that's not the most interesting thing, and it's all super fascinating, and he's just like, there it is, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it really does create such a huge world in terms of the nuances and the specificity. It creates a world that you actually could believe and that you think that you could actually see being real, which is a terrifying prospect.
I also love that, like, this is an action movie where everybody kicks ass.
Yeah.
There is not a single person in this movie that doesn't have an awesome moment.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Hardy, of course, plays Max. He's replacing Mel Gibson because I guess they just didn't want to bring back any anti-Semites for this one. But in any case, Tom Hardy is Max now, and he's really great. I mean, there was a touch of little, like, moments where I was just like, I hear a little Bane, and I don't like it.
Yeah, there was one moment where I'm like, yeah, it's getting a little Bane-y, pull it back.
Don't you do it. But overall, I think he did a really great job. I think he managed to sort of tap into this idea of Max having really severe post-traumatic stress, but still being very, very likable and heroic. And I think Charlize Theron also did a great job. She's got this awesome, like, Terminator arm, which I kind of want. I'm like, well, I don't really want to lose my arm, but I kind of want that Terminator arm.
It's so weird, like high-tech, low-tech.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And of course, Hugh Keays-Byrne is back playing Immortan Joe, who's the villain, the main villain of the movie. And he was the main villain Toe Cutter in Mad Max 1. So it's really awesome to see him come back, playing an even scarier, even more fucked up asshole.
You know, something that's like, we're talking about him coming back. One of the things that I really loved about it is, it's not really a reboot, it's not really a sequel, but it's something that, it's a movie that doesn't require any knowledge of an extended universe.
Right.
It's all there, and even though the first one came out like decades ago, this is still a filmmaker and a setting that feels totally fresh.
Right. I think they've done the thing that so many other franchises are trying to do right now, where they really just sort of re-energize it, but in a way like are able to still separate it from the original content. I feel like it stands on its own, but it also ties back into the source content so perfectly. George Miller also has a lot of really cool tropes that he kind of ties into the past movies in certain ways. Just little touches where if you've seen the past movies, you'll notice he loves the theme of like if someone's in a car wreck, they like lose one gun shoe, like that comes up. The trope in Mad Max 2 of like using a gun that actually doesn't work or doesn't have any ammo, but still like being like, well, they don't know that, and running with it, and the little hurdy-gurdy music maker. So there's like all sorts of little things that sort of like remind you of the past movies, but still keep this movie completely on its own.
And I have to say, like, it's really nice to see a movie with such spectacle that makes such limited use of CGI. Like, outside of the storm, like the big storm, I'm not really sure what was weird.
Yeah, spoiler, there's a storm.
I'm not really sure what was real and what was not. And that's terrifying because there's explosions and bodies flying everywhere. And from the entire history of the sort of Mad Max movies, it's like, they actually shot stuff at high speed. Like, there were literally stuntmen flying off of things. Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the few movies that relied almost entirely on practical effects, or at least relied on practical effects whenever possible. And that's just not done anymore. We're so accustomed to watching these Marvel movies and other superhero movies or whatever, where it's cartoons. Like, we're just watching cartoons after a certain point, and I've never been a huge fan of that, which is maybe why I'm never like the first one in line to go see Avengers 2 or whatever. But I don't know, like, I think there's something to be said about actually doing things the harder way, the more dangerous way, certainly, because it really does enhance my experience as a viewer.
Well, like, even the Fast and the Furious movies, like you were saying, it's like, yes, those are real stunt drivers. They're actually driving the cars, but, like, when it comes to, like, the real danger, I know that all of those stunt drivers are going to walk away because it's ultimately a cartoon.
Yeah.
And Vin Diesel flying through the air was done on green screen.
Right.
But when it comes to Mad Max Fury Road, I don't know who was thrown through the air. At one point, Tom Hardy is strapped to the front of a car, and I'm sure that it was driving at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think, like, all those actors probably got some scrapes and bruises. They got f***ed up making this movie, but you know what, guys? Worth it.
I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of the few movies this year that I want to go see twice. The other one being Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman I also love this year, so if you guys missed that, Truly and Clint did a review way back when, so we'll annotate that somewhere for you to check out, because that will be out on DVD pretty soon, but
yeah,
that's a tangent.
It's on iTunes this Friday.
Well, there you go. But Mad Max, we both really liked it. Truly in particular came in super hot. I know he was like really, really excited for it. I was excited, but I was mostly excited and hopeful that it would live up to Truly's expectations, and it totally did. So I'm glad that we both really liked it. It's going to be interesting to see Mad Max Fury Road facing off against Pitch Perfect 2 this Friday. Like, it's like the ultimate encounter programming. You guys know, if you watch the Pitch Perfect review, which side of the fence I'm on, but I'm hoping that Mad Max wins the box office this weekend.
You go to Pitch Perfect with your significant other, let's say, it's fine. It's not going to be the worst thing. Then you take her or him to Mad Max Fury Road, and then you have your good time.
I don't know. If my fella took me to Pitch Perfect 2, I think that's our last date. So there you have it. We didn't really want to get too much into the details because it really is just like a movie you need to go see. Go check it out. If you're interested, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. It is definitely worth the $18 to see it if you live in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Anywhere else, you're getting a deal.
Yeah, right? Make sure you go in there prepared to have your socks rocked. I don't know why I said that. That was a strange way to put it. Check it out and let us know what you thought in the comments.
So subscribe to CineFix for more
His brain is still scrambled by all those death-defying stunts. What he's trying to say is subscribe to CineFix and thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Sure. Suck it, Pitch Perfect.